This is a land of icebergs and misty mountains, hauntingly beautiful, a place that can thrill and surprise. Nature lovers from around the world are discovering the hidden treasures of Newfoundland and Labrador. Here on the southwest coast, for instance, birdwatchers can see a species of bird that's disappeared in most other parts of North America. The piping plover breeds here on this isolated shore within Cheeseman Provincial Park. The nesting site is protected, and this conservation initiative has paid off. Newfoundland and Labrador's provincial park and reserve system encourages nature enthusiasts to observe wildlife in a natural setting. Interpretations facilities help visitors develop a greater appreciation for wildlife and the ecosystem in which they live. The piping plover is a small, sparrow-sized bird with markings the color of sand. Perfect camouflage. Officially an endangered species, the piping plover seems to be holding its own here on this protected site. Nutrient-rich currents support an impressive quantity and diversity of marine life in the coastal waters of Newfoundland and Labrador. These juvenile gannets are diving for fish. To reduce the terrific impact when they strike the water, they have a remarkable system of outer connected air sacs under the skin in the breast area. It's quite a sight to watch them fishing. There are 3 gannet colonies in Newfoundland where birds congregate in tremendous numbers at breeding time, greeting each other with crossed bills and mutual preening.
When the gannets are nesting there, actually, they protect themselves from predators, such as...
The colony at Cape St. Mary's is an ideal location for the naturalist to study the elaborate behavior of the birds. The gannetry, perched atop a spine of rock that rises sheer from the ocean, seems almost close enough to touch. Visitors can park their vehicle near the new well-equipped interpretive center, see the exhibits and talk with the staff. From there it's a short but interesting walk to the gannetry. Newfoundland's coastline is dotted with islands and cliff faces, but those around Cape St. Mary's are among the most spectacular. The sheer abundance of life provides hours of fascination for all who visit. It's not just the birds that are of interest. Great schools of tiny silver fish called capelin come to Newfoundland's beaches to spawn in early summer, and seabirds, codfish, and whales all take advantage of this rich food resource. Whale watching is fast becoming a popular and exciting experience for many visitors to Newfoundland. Humpback whales are the favorites. They often make spectacular displays as they herd and hunt the capelin. They usually take several shallow dives, then with an arching back and wave of the tail, a terminal dive deep into the ocean, where hopefully they'll gobble up a mouthful of fresh fish. In its search for krill and small fish like capelin, the humpback whale migrates along the coast from southern Mexico to the seas of northern Labrador. Visitors to Chance Cove Provincial Park and Cape Race can charter small sightseeing vessels to search for harbor or gray seals. Harbor seals are commonly found, but the lucky sea traveler may get to spot a gray seal. The antics of the curious seals are fun to watch. This area also has some of the oldest known metazoan fossils in the Western Hemisphere, and the most varied, well-preserved Precambrian fossils in the world. In these northern waters, icebergs often linger all summer, much to the delight of visitors. This sea cathedral is just a bonus, though, for this tour boat is actually en route to the largest Atlantic puffin colony in North America, and the world's second largest colony of Leach's storm petrel. Here on a cluster of islands called the Witless Bay Seabird Ecological Reserve nest literally millions of birds. Murres, puffins, petrels, herring gulls, great blackbacks, kittiwakes, razorbills, and guillemots live on these islands. The puffin, a colorful bird, waddles and hops on land, but in the sea is a skilled swimmer and diver. Tour boat visitors have a bird's eye view of these fascinating creatures. These rugged islands are protected as sanctuaries for their survival. Both puffins and storm petrels are burrow nesters, and the soft, peaty grounds of Gull and Green Island are ideal for this purpose. Puffins tend to occupy the steep grassy slopes, while storm petrels occupy the tree-covered areas near the top of the islands. Burrow nesting keeps vulnerable eggs and chicks away from the marauding gulls. Puffins are awkward on land, but their short wings give them speed and agility in flight, and are also used to fly underwater. Full-grown puffins are safe from most of the predators on the island, except for the great black-backed gull, which can catch puffins in flight. A more common problem for the puffin is getting their catch of food to their chicks. A full beak of fish is an invitation for harassment by gulls. Once inside their burrows, though, the puffins can feed their young in safety. The distinctive broad parrot-like beak and the formal tuxedo-like plumage make the puffin a popular photographer's subject. Just below the tufts of grass that bulge above the puffin burrows is the home of the kittiwake. These small gulls gather materials and build comfortable nests on rock platforms protected by overhanging ledges. When one of the adults returns to the nest, there's a formal greeting process that involves ritualized bobbing of heads. Kittiwake chicks peck at the returning parents' beaks to encourage the regurgitation of a meal. Moors don't build nests, but lay cone-shaped eggs that don't easily roll off the rocky ledges. As the sun sets over the sanctuary, a bird rarely seen during the day begins its shift. Storm petrels travel to and from the colony only at night. The petrels' nocturnal habits are helpful in avoiding predators. Petrels leaving or returning to the rookery while there is some daylight often fall prey to gulls. Petrels forage far offshore, mostly on plankton. The fluttering, ghost-like flight of petrels on the ocean prompted sailors to believe they were seeing the ghosts of departed souls. One of Newfoundland's greatest conservation success stories can be found in the Avalon Wilderness Reserve area. This is one of North America's most accessible yet unspoiled barren lands. Established in 1964, mainly to protect the endangered caribou herd, this 1,070 square kilometer reserve is one of the most southern barren lands of North America. The herd has made a remarkable recovery. Large numbers of caribou now roam the Avalon once more. Nowhere else on the continent does such a large population of caribou exist so close to a major city. Often the animals are quite near the road, a truly remarkable sight for tourist and resident alike. A more secluded herd of caribou, the largest herd on the island, resides in the Bay du Nord Wilderness Reserve. Accessible only by air or canoe, the plant and animal communities of Bay du Nord are virtually undisturbed by humans. This ensures that the area will remain in a pristine state for recreational adventurers to explore and enjoy for generations to come. Here on the open barren lands during late May or early June, the doe caribou give birth to a single fawn. The newborn can be on its wobbly feet and ready to run alongside its mother in a few hours. These animals are admirably adapted to life on the open country. Their huge, spreading feet enable them to run easily over soft, boggy ground and act as snowshoes in winter. The white coat in winter changes to a gray-brown in summer, providing year-round camouflage. The caribou is a migratory animal, following ancient and well-worn trails to seasonal feeding grounds. But that will happen later, in the fall, when the snow flies. At this time of year, survival of the young is the dominant instinct, for predators lurk on these barrens. Catching the bear's scent, the caribou race away across the barren lands. The sow bear, occupied with her own offspring, shows little interest in giving chase. The western region of Newfoundland is wild and diverse. There are long stretches of sandy beaches and rocky headlands that tower out of the sea. Barishwa Provincial Park is representative of the area's treasures. Tours led by park naturalists give visitors a close and informative look at the plants and animals of the region.
Really green and expansive.
Situated at the base of the long-range mountains, the park has a variety of interpretive programs for all ages. The park's boardwalk is an opportunity to view wildlife and climb the mountain in relative ease. Campfire programs focus on information about the local wildlife and include skits and games like one that shows how bats find their food. Through songs, lectures, and guided hikes, guests to this area become more aware of what is around them. The little brown bat is a common resident on the island. The bats find lots of natural cover, but often congregate to roost in large numbers in many of the old cabins. The protective microclimate in Barishwa provides support for plants rarely found elsewhere on the island, including species like this black ash.
Where there is a lot of
Orchids are normally associated with tropical climates and rainforests, but Newfoundland has a profusion of orchids to admire and photograph. These flowers are commonly found in wet, boggy areas, but many are small and easily overlooked. Bearing exotic names like moccasin flower, purple fringe orchid, arethusa, rattlesnake plantain, and calypso, the small flowers are exquisite and beautiful. The pitcher plant is Newfoundland and Labrador's provincial flower. Found all across the province, this plant traps insects in its jug-shaped leaves to supplement the meager nutrients it absorbs from the soil. While nearby, tufts of cottongrass dance merrily in the breeze. Newfoundland and Labrador has no shortage of interesting rocks that show what life was like here millions of years ago when the climate was more tropical. Science and ancient history becomes real for children as they touch a trilobite fossil that lived here eons ago. Hiking along some of the exposed rock faces can yield embedded fossils too, once you know what to look for. Moose may be seen almost anywhere in Newfoundland. Here a couple of youngsters rub noses. The ancestors of these animals were introduced in the early 1900s, and the population has increased tremendously since then. Newfoundland and Labrador, a land of discoveries, a land of treasures, waiting for you to explore. Newfoundland and Labrador is a special place for those who love the water. Here you can enjoy a heart-pounding run on white water, a leisurely afternoon exploring quiet lakes. You can even paddle among whales and icebergs. The government of Newfoundland and Labrador have set aside provincial parks and wilderness and ecological reserves to preserve and celebrate the province's natural heritage and to encourage the recreational use of its fabulous waterways. The Main River has been nominated as Newfoundland's first Canadian heritage river. It springs to life in the tundra-like highlands of western Newfoundland, flows through an expanse of lush softwood forest and unique grassland. Then it churns on to the sea through a spectacular 8-kilometer-long rocky canyon. The boulder-strewn river requires high water levels for a canoe trip, and the frequent rapids and remote setting make it a trip for experienced paddlers only. Newfoundland's other Canadian heritage river, the Bay du Nord, can be reached only by air or canoe. It flows through a wilderness of subarctic barren lands covering nearly 3,000 square kilometers. The austere bogs and marshes are broken by scattered lakes and ponds. Weather can be quite changeable, so canoers should come prepared. Even in summer, daytime temperatures can vary dramatically, from uncomfortably hot to finger-numbing cold. A hearty breakfast can help get one through the cold days, though, but the aromas of cooking can lure unexpected and curious guests for breakfast. The landscape in Newfoundland and Labrador is varied. Peatlands covered with cotton grass and tiny orchids, pristine lakes nestled among spruce-clad hills, a coastal paradise of cold waters, rugged cliffs and sparkling sand. When the sun is shining on a summer day, it's hard to resist the lure of playing in the sun and surf. The ocean is constantly sculpting the shoreline. In places, crevices have been carved out of solid rock, providing an unusual opportunity for paddlers to do a little cave exploring. Paddling along cliffs carved by the mighty North Atlantic can be an awe-inspiring experience. The province offers a wide range of rivers that appeal to every level of paddler, including those who seek to pitch their skills against the challenge of roaring rapids and tumbling white water. There are exciting paddling opportunities within the provincial parks and reserves. For those who need a guide, there are operating within these special places various outfitters that specialize in adventure tourism. Most paddlers who tackle water like this have specialized training and use canoes and kayaks designed for white water. Note they all wear life jackets and helmets. An easy paddle through spectacular scenery on the Humber River near Corner Brook, running parallel to the Trans-Canada Highway from Deer Lake. This famous salmon river is deep and quiet, an ideal place for a relaxing family run. Sea kayaking has become increasingly popular in recent years. The opportunity for a close encounter with a whale provides an irresistible lure for kayakers who venture in the rich and bountiful waters of Newfoundland and Labrador. Many of the province's parks have serviced campsites adjacent to quiet lakes, perfect places for summer holidays. After all day in the fresh air, roaming the wilderness and learning of its inhabitants, sleep comes easy. In spring and early summer, the Labrador Current ushers in a stately parade of icebergs. This yearly procession is a magnificent sight, but the hardy paddler who ventures out should not get too close, as these sea cathedrals can break and roll without warning. And remember, the North Atlantic can be cold, even in midsummer. It's a good idea for the paddler to wear a protective dry suit. Newfoundland and Labrador, a spectacular coastline, an uncrowded wilderness. It's a place with all sorts of opportunities for the paddler, from challenging runs on white water to quiet trips on hauntingly beautiful streams and lakes. There's fun and adventure for all, here on the edge of the mighty North Atlantic. Newfoundland and Labrador is a land of spectacular scenery and abundant wildlife, with a wealth of diverse and unique recreational opportunities. From the clamor of a crowded gannet colony on the coast to the tranquility of a flower-carpeted trail in a provincial park, there's much for the nature lover to see and do. It's a land that beckons travelers to stop along the wayside and experience firsthand a wilderness that's still much as it was when the first settlers arrived. Special areas of the province have been set aside as ecological reserves, wilderness reserves, and provincial parks. These are areas where residents and visitors are encouraged to explore and enjoy. Places like Butterpot Provincial Park on the Avalon Peninsula, where giant boulders scattered about by ancient glaciers dot the landscape. Some were deposited in such delicate balance that today, 10,000 years later, a child can still rock them in their natural cradles. The great rocks are fascinating, but there are also small treasures to enjoy. Camping in the provincial parks is a great way to experience the natural areas of Newfoundland and Labrador. The provincial park system ensures that such places will always be protected, so that moments like this can be savored and treasured by future generations. From boardwalks to backcountry trails, journeys on foot can range from an easy, hour-long stroll to a month-long adventure. A great introduction to this popular activity is a guided hike in one of the province's parks. At Barishwa Provincial Park, hikers can pass through a variety of climates as they stroll along the boardwalk trail and see in one sweeping glance the transition from ocean to mountainside. The steep mountains of Newfoundland's western shore are often mist-shrouded places of quiet and solitude. Lakes and streams abound in Newfoundland and Labrador, and there's thousands of miles of coastline. Even a short period of time spent beachcombing is likely to turn up interesting treasures. From the smoothly polished colored rocks to the occasional whale rib washed up on the beachcomber rarely returns empty-handed. Inland waters, sheltered from the cool ocean breezes, are perfect getaways for summer frolicking and fun. Many of the province's parks have swimming areas that provide countless hours of pleasure on hot summer days. Several parks have private sector partners that rent watercraft and offer a variety of other services. Much to the surprise of many visitors, there are many miles of white sand beaches and crystal clear ocean waters in Newfoundland. Sandbanks Provincial Park and J.T. Cheeseman Provincial Park on the southern and western coasts of Newfoundland are postcard-perfect paradises. The province has always had strong ties to the sea, and several of the province's parks protect remnants of an era when life at sea was a pioneering adventure. A coastal hiking trail in Sandbanks Provincial Park near Burgeo provides a stark reminder that the life of the pioneers wasn't always easy. Nowadays, travel to the province's parks is much easier thanks to a network of well-maintained roads. Within a very short distance from parking a vehicle, it's possible to experience a pristine wilderness that rivals the subarctic regions of northern Canada. The vast expanses of open terrain are a hiker's dream. For the nature photographer, Newfoundland offers boundless photographic opportunities. From bogs filled with cotton grass and delicate orchids like calypso and arethusa, to exciting close encounters with the gentle giants of the sea, the humpback whales. Every spring, huge chunks of ice are carved off the polar ice cap and shaped into massive, free-form works of art, like currents that gently pull them southward along the coast. Nature's studio is always a work in progress, as there's constant change in the appearance of the floating sculptures. Water has always played an important role in the shaping of Newfoundland. Countless rivers and streams meander and tumble from the highlands to the sea. and these crystal-clear waterways attract young and old alike. The delicate touch required for fishing requires patience. The skills required to land the big one are often passed on from generation to generation. But human anglers aren't the only ones learning the techniques of fishing. Even experts like the osprey take lots of practice before they're able to snatch a tasty morsel from the sea. The rugged wilderness streams and rivers are home to many a wily trout waiting to test the angler. Even the most skilled fisherman needs a lot of patience and a bit of luck. Fishermen from all over the globe come to Newfoundland and Labrador to try their skills in the province's countless lakes and streams. But no matter if the fish aren't biting, relaxing in the province's provincial parks can bring its own rewards. Or even from the comfort of a campsite, it's not unusual to see wildlife wandering past. Here, a stag caribou takes a leisurely stroll home. Natural and scenic attraction parks are designated to protect special areas which are close to major travel routes. These allow residents and visitors alike to enjoy the spectacular natural wonders of the province. Unique geological formations like the arches on Newfoundland's western shores are feature attractions that instill a sense of wonder in the visitor. Mysterious and ever-changing, the natural wonders of Newfoundland and Labrador beckon. From thrilling moments of high adventure to quiet moments of soul-cleansing solitude, Newfoundland and Labrador offers outdoor experiences to accommodate every desire.